Today, Erev Shabbos Kodesh, Parashas Kisavei. Rambam is very gimel of the Rambam is Halacha Shofar, Sukkah, Lulav. So we're going to discuss the Tekios of the Tzibur that the Rambam brings in Perek Gimel Halacha Zayin. Rambam writes, "Tzibur chayovim shmaya haTekios haseidah habrachos." Tzibur is required to hear the Tekios haseidah habrachos. And he writes here in Arichas the Kevar. Keitzad, how is that? So he describes Omer Shliach Tzibur, Avos, Gvuros, Kedushas Hashem. He says Avos, Gvuros, and Kedushas Hashem. Then he writes Umalchios, Tekios, and he blows three Tekios, a seder of three. By Mizachrenes, Tekios, by Meshevers, Tekios. So that's Malchis Zachrenes Shevers. The Imer Avodah, the Haidoya, and Birchas Kain. So starts off with Avos, Gvuros, Kedushas Hashem, which is Magen Avraham, Chaim Eisem, and Ata Kadosh. Then Malchis Zachrenes, and ends up with Ritzei, Meidim. And interesting to note, Birchas Kayanim, he doesn't speak about Sim Shalom. So there, I've discussed this in other places in one of my storms, that the Rambam may hold that Sim Shalom and Birchas Kayanim go together. They're one bracha. There's rayas to that. Okay, that seems to be the way. And it's based on a Gemara. The Gemara used the same lashon. It's not the Rambam's own invention. Now, obviously, the Rambam here seems very, very extra. We're here to tell you that you blow the Tekios, I'll say that I'm right. I apologize for the coffee. As I said last time, it's my one coffee a day that I have first thing in the morning. So he says, he starts off with a whole arichas, Avos, Gvuros, Kedushas Hashem, then Malchis and Shevers, and then Aveda, Idoy, Birchas Kain. Now, let's take a look how it's brought down in the other places. We'll come to the Mechaber Mashal, Mazah Shliach Tzibur Tefillah, but taking us say that brachas, the Malchis, and so forth. The Alter Rebbe, Kishu Spalin Tefillas, Musa B'Tzibur, Tik Nacham L'Skaya Terat the Malchis, L'Zchrenes Rat L'Shevers. So it seems that the Rambam's enumeration of every part of the brachas is l'cheira extra. But an interesting note, there's something missing from the Rambam's Seder HaBrachas, and we'll come to that in a moment. The makar of the halacha of the Rambam, this is the makar of this halacha is Mishnah in Masechtas Rosh Hashanah, Lamed Beis. The Mishnah says, say the brachas, I'm machlekes. Say the brachas. How do you do the brachas? Omer Avos, Gvuros, and Kedushas Hashem. It says Avos, Gvuros, and Kedushas Hashem. The Kelo Malchias Imohem, the Einei Tekeya Kedushas Hayei. Then it again. Then he says Kedushas Hayei with Tekei. Right? Zachrenes, Tekeya, Shevers, Tekeya. And then so again, Lashon Rambam Eimar Aveda Birchas Kain comes from this Gemara, and the same thing the next stop. Divrei Rabbi Yechim Manuri. Amalei Rabbi Kiva. Nei Tekeya L'Malchios. Lama Hu Masker. Why does he say it? The Gemara is going to ask him that a question. We'll see soon. Omer Avos Gvuros Kedushas Hashem. V'keilo Malchias in Kedushas Hayei, with Tekeya, which is Aminik, God, Zchrenes Tekeya, Shev Tekeya, Lem Aveda, So here the Mishnah doesn't make much sense. Why does the Mishnah go through all of them? Okay, so Mishnah, there's an answer. Because since there's a deal of whether Malchus goes with Kedushas Hashem, according to Rabbi Yechim and Nuri, so can't understand what's Marechim Dalts. But the Rambam clearly basks like Rabbi Akiva. Okay, so he's bringing the Lashon of Rabbi Akiva. Hey, was Feld? Feld, Kedushas Hashem. Rambam doesn't mention Kedushas Hashem. Rabbi Akiva mentions that if he's saying the Lashon of Rabbi Akiva, let him bring the whole Lashon of Rabbi Akiva. He doesn't bring it. He's missing Kedushas Hashem. Okay. Gemara says that I'm keeping a little further. The Gemara is a big piece of Gemara. The Gemara says, "Tan Rabban, Nayin Sheimrin Avos, Shenema Havel Hashem B'nei Nayin Sheimrin Dvurai, Shenema Havel Hashem Kavod Vayis, Hashem Kedusha, Shenema Havel Hashem Kavod Shmei, Shtam Shabadas Kedesh, Nayin Sheimrin Malchus Hashem." Why goes through a whole set? Why we say Malchus Hashem? The Gemara in Masechtas Megillah, famous Gemara in Masechtas Megillah, Daf Yud Zayin on the base, Gemara says the whole takona of the Seder HaTfilah. Gemara says, "Donna Meyav Esem Zekanim." Ubahem Kamen Neviim Tiknu Shmeina Esher Brachas Al Seder. They were masakin 18 brachas Al Seder. And then it goes on. Tanarabban. Nah, you're showing the words. How Hashem Ne'elim. Avos Ne'elim. Urais Kavod Vayis. Nushes. How Hashem Kavod Shmei. And then goes through Maralem. We know what he's at the Chayin. And afterwards, after Kedusha, and then why do we say why every bracha? And it goes through the whole Seder HaBrachas. So why are we repeating that first part of it? So already we know there's brachas. Why are we going back here in Masechtas Rosh Hashanah and asking again? You could say Yosef mentioned we want to go through. We bring that again. Because, hey, why don't we go to the end? Why don't we mention where we learn the Seder Aveda and Birchas Kedem or some Shalom? We should have done that too. The Bnei Yeshua Flekakash, he asked this question in Rosh Hashanah, and he says a very, very interesting answer, which is a Kiddush, a very big Kiddush. He says that the Gemara says in Megillah that you're not allowed to be Mesaper B'Shvacha Shel Baka. Mi Malel Gvuras Hashem, Shmiya Kol Tilos. That it's not shaykh to Malel Gvuras Hashem and say all this Tehillas. And you're only allowed to say that which you say Shemesha Kela God Lagi Maneira. Right. So he says in Bia Svara at Rosh Hashanah we're masking Malchus Hashem. We should full of Shvachim of David. So we think maybe we shouldn't say this for the others words of Kedushas, because you're being Mason with Sapir B'Shvachim so much. And therefore we will think you shouldn't do these Shalosh Hashemas. He doesn't answer. He doesn't say it, but that's also an answer why we're not worried about. I would say Meidim and Birchas Kedem, because that's not Shvachim Shamakim. That's Haidah. It's a very big Kiddush to say that Malchi is a Shchein like Shvachim Shamakim. All the other Psukim of the Torah. The whole idea of those things is the same. The 10 Psukim. So how would that be considered Meisim L'Sapim B'Shvachim Shamakim? Okay. Let's skip some of the things that I wanted to get into because of time. Focus on this main point. In Masechtas Brachos, Daf Chavtes and Aleph, Gemara asks. Gemara goes through the reason why we have the number of brachas in davening. So Yudches, the Gemara said, the Chai Chulias, other Chai, there are a bunch of different 18s. And the Gemara also continues, that's Hana Sheva, the Shabbat connected me. So the Gemara brings, connected Shiva, Kalish, the Gemara from Rabbi Chalaftim and Shol, the Shiva, Kalish, Omer David, Alam Mayim, which we say in Mizmel David, Amal Hashem, which is good because it's a hamshach of those psukim that we learn out of this Gurus and Kedushas Hashem. Then they want to ask the question: Hanitation that Rosh Hashanah connected me. Yeah, and my rings are out. Rabbi Yitzchak, the min kartignun, it's connected. Tishas Karash Omer Chana B'Tfilos, and Chana is related to Rosh Hashanah. Right? You all know the Haftarah of Chana, and because of Chana, at the moment Mar Chana is Abra. Nifkeda Sarah Rachel, and also, yeah, I'm sorry, Nifkeda Sarah Rachel. So, Chana, we say her tefillah, so therefore it has a shekas. Okay, good bottom, that's the tissue. Okay, so Chayed then we want to know why we say 18 brachas, where do you get the 18 from? Well, you want to know why we say 7 brachas. We want to know why you say 7 brachas. We understand why the number 7. When you stop at 7, and it's but 9 is a very simple question. You got to say 3 in the beginning and 3 in the end. And Malchi is it's not stam 9. It's not a number 9. That was Yudches L'cher is an arbitrary number. Arayah, we find that they've added another one. There's 19. And the Rambam says, we'll see soon, all the bakashas that they're shaykh to ask are included in these 18. Good. It could have been 17. It's not muchach that you had to be 18. The same thing by the 7. 7 is, we'll see soon what the number 7, why there are 7 brachas. And what if I can't, I'm the of them Halain, what the Gemara asks. But what's the question? So the Yeshua asked this question too. The Yeshua asked this question in brachas. So he says, his answer is, you were able to be, if that were the case, if there wouldn't be a pasuk for 9, you would be kailul malchias achreinis shafers in one bracha. Just as you kailul kedusha yom with malchias, you make one bracha, you don't make 2 brachas out of it. That's his understanding. He gufa. So in other words, to me as a mutkash. Why we kailul? Why there's because there's a din of 9, not 10. The din of 9 brachas. But it still needs a beer. We'll see. The Rambam doesn't even mention Kedushas Hayim. Even though it's a Chelik Tefillah, he doesn't mention it, as we saw before. Doesn't mention. All right. So those are the issues that we're going to stick to now. Okay, so I want to suggest a possible approach that the Rambam takes to this. Rambam Hilchas Tefillah, you see that in Perik Aleph brings Kiva Shara Ezra Beis Dinei that people couldn't Amdu v'tiknel have Shmeina Esrei brachas ala Seder, which is the Lashon HaGemara that they tiknel Shmeina Esrei brachas ala Seder, and he explains what they are. Sholish Rishenis Shavach Hashem Sholosh Acheres Edah, and so is Yesh Behen Sheilas Kol Advarim Shein. My obvious Kol Chefze Ish L'Tzorech Hatzibur. That's it. As I said before, this is the obvious of everything. Perik Beis, he goes B'chol Tefillah Sheb'chol Yom Yisrael Shayes Shei Brachas Eilu Ala Seder again. Now here he qualifies it. The qualification. When do you daven 19 or 18 brachas? Kishemotza daite b'chavana, Sulushayin to my likreis. Avalima yitorut. If you were, yeah, I'm on. If you were tarud noch, Aisha Kotzer l'sheine, hispalel shalosh risheines, brach achas men kalamtzes, shalosh achreinis yavsi lechmas. Here comes tefillas avinein, and that's a mamed var mamur. In other words, when the daven normally, when you don't, when you're normal, when your mind is set, but when you have a problem, then you have a new type of tefillah called avinein. Okay, that makes sense. Mamed var mamur, right? Halacha hey, b'shabbosav yom tov mispal sheva brachas, chol tefillah, and then he goes again. Shalish, you say mizrach reinis, bracha emtsois me'en oisa hayeh. A bracha that has to do with the day that you're saying. Okay, this is good. Now comes halacha vav. Amed dvarim amurim. Amed dvarim amurim. The tefillas arvus or shachas emit. Aval tefillas hamusafim sharash Hashanah mispalel shtei shabrachas. Shalosh yeshenis, shalosh kolye, shalosh emtsoyis, yeshena min emtsoyis, yona malchis, shniyas achreinis, shlish shefres, v'chesim chalachas me'minyan. So there. First of all, what's my medvar amur? He's going through a list. The list is 18, 7. He should have said, and then betfilas musaf shani mismal teisha brachas. What's the medvar amur? Okay, there's a possibility that he's trying to exclude the shittas of Alamar that holds that all three tefillas on Rosh Hashanah are 9, but that's not about medvar amur. I mean, just say tefillas misaf and Rosh Hashanah mismal teisha. Now again, to note, he's missing kedushas hayayin over here. Same way that he misses it in Hilchas Shofar, he misses it here. So now the first one medvar makes sense because it's a new type of tefillah. It's a tefillah made for a matzav. It's not a tefillah made for a matzav. It's a tefillah made for it's a tefillah made for what you're doing. Okay, so maybe we can say that's okay. It is a medvar. As far as I'll give you a svara of what he holds and a possibility of what he holds, but let's first see what he says, and then we'll figure out the svara behind it. The Rambam holds that tefillas Rosh Hashanah Musaf is not a normal tefillah. A normal tefillah requires a system that is based on Shevach, Lashem, Bakoshe, or being maskir me'en hayoim, and then shalosh haydoy. The seder of the tefillah of Rosh Hashanah by Musaf is not a seder tefillah. There's no tefillah. It's a whole bunch of shvachim. Now, why is it like that? I mean, it's at time. I don't want to get into it, but I'll just mention one nekuda that could be, and again, it fits with the Rambam to say that. The famous shita of Balamor and others bring him. Balamor holds that meikre hatakona b'tzibur, there was never anything else but tkiyas that we call tkiyas the me'umad. There was no tkiyas the miyushav. Tkiyas the miyushav is a chiddush. Tkiyas the miyushav is a sort of invention of later days. Matter of fact, says the Balamor, there was never a baracha of Asher Gidchanim and Seis and Tzvan L'Shmeya Kel Shefer. You know what the bracha for Tekios Shofar is? Not the Balamai, the bracha of Tekios Shofar is Malchis Achenis and Shofar. And none of us later they made a minhag and they added that bracha. Balamai is a shit to go through it. It's in Rosh Hashanah on the Rif. I'm not sure that the Rambam holds like that, but it would really give a good understanding to a lot of what the Rambam says. The way we started off, the Hatzibur Chayavim, and doesn't mention anything. He should have said they're Chayavim Gam. They're also never to add. No, Chayavim. Later in the Seder he says it because not in the minute. I mean, there's a lot of points that would work out very nicely, but we'll leave that for now because that's not. It's going to take too much time. So where did the Rambam get this from? From a number of places. First of all, the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah, Ton Rabbanon, where Menayin Shoyim Rimovos, Menayin Shoyim Gevuros, Menayin Shoyim Kedushas, Menayin Shoyim Malchus Eikaris Eifers. The Rambam was bothered by this question. What is going on in this Gemara? The Gemara already took care of this. The text says it's a new gather at Tefillah. It's a new type of Tefillah. It doesn't fit the Gidrei Tefillah of Because you have to go to the Yeshua's word that it's all Shevach. That's not the word. It's just not Tefillah. It's not the form of Tefillah. Malchis Achenis is not Tefillah. It's Psukim. And according to Rabbi Moshe, it's a bracha on Tekios Shofar. So who cooked the Saraida? How do you where does it fit in Tefillah? Of them, the Gemara Durga. The other question. Why doesn't the Gemara fear ice? Once we realized that we were masakin the Shalos Hushainus, and then the Psukim, it's understood. You don't have to go through the same thing. The beginning, you have to go through the Seder. That there's a Seder at Tefillah. In other words, especially again with the Balamar, it comes out unbelievable. But even without that, you can say it. But without that, it's as I is, and with that, there's a logic to it. But I don't want to confine the Rambam to that to the Balamar. I'm not sure, but there's definitely something about that. The same thing that Rambam understands the Hani Teisha Keneged Me. Right? Hani Teisha Keneged Me is because it's a new concept of Tefillah. It's not your usual Tefillah. It's a Bamed Var Mabur Tefillah. Now, just like there's a Bamed Var Mabur when you're not in a state of mind to daven, not the Mechadish given, Anayis or Tefillah called Aminenu. So when you're in a state of Tekios, Mechadish given Anayis Tefillah called Malchis Achenis Shofars. It's also a new concept. It's a new concept of Tefillah. Now, go a step further. That's why the Rambam doesn't mention Kedusha Sai again. Because that's not the Tefillah. It happens to be we do Kedusha Yom, whether it was because Shalei L'Chalik or because there's an Indian of Kedusha Yom to mention it. There's not Shalei Kailu in a bracha. There is no place for a Kedusha Yom bracha, according to the Rambam. Because it's a bracha, it's a Tefillah of Tekios. It's a new Tefillah of Shofars, the Malchis Achenis Shofars. That's not Moshe. That's why he doesn't bring it because not a gay it's the Indian Tefillah. It just happens to be. You want to be masked gay, you put it there. So that would be the approach. Just to note that according to the Balamar's word, the whole Shemoneh is like sort of a Berachas HaMitzvah type of thing. It's a Shemoneh of Berachas HaMitzvah, which makes it so much clearer in the Svara of the Rambam. But you don't have to come on to that. If this is the Mahalach of the Rambam, it could be that it works out very nicely how it brings the halacha. A lot of the ors that we mentioned, that the way he says it, why he goes through all the three brachas and the end brachas, and all this indicated to the Rambam that just another bracha. Just to end with a nekuda, our minig is that we blow Sai in the Stille Shemoneh and Sai in the Heiche Shemoneh. So I just want to, there's a lot to say about this. What are the reasons why others don't? So there are various reasons, and it's interesting that the Alter Rebbe seems to me, I haven't found anybody say what the Alter Rebbe says, unless he is saying something that's not clear in the words. But the general opinions are either because there's a famous Riyaz that says it's not Tfilas Tzibur. Tfilas Tzibur is when the Chazan gets up there and then does Chazar Hashatz. That's called Tfilas Tzibur. Now there are indications of the Rambam that there are two inyanim in Tzibur. There's the Tfilas Harabim in Hilchas Tfilah. He used a lashon Tfilas Harabim, which is when they daven together, and then there's the Chazara, which is called the Tzibur davening. That's one svara that he says. Then there's a svara, those who say that it might be a hefsek in tefillah. Others say because you don't want to be mavalbul people in the middle of their Shemoneh Esrei. There's a whole bunch of different svaras of why we don't do it. So if you look, there's a Shuvas Avnei on this. Alter Rebbe says a new thing. Now it could be he's sort of explaining the Riyas. That's the only thing. If you want to say that it's a market to what he said, but he said like it. Lefi shebetfilas musa v'lachesh kol echad mispal la'atzim. Ve'ein echad misayim b'chaysim b'shor shechaverim misayim. Lefichach ain't taken betfilas zu k'moishe ain't taken b'yach. So the Riyaz holds that this is a yochid. This is a tfilas yochid. The Rambam doesn't. The Alter Rebbe doesn't say that. He says that the reason we shouldn't do it is because since we're not holding together, and therefore it's like a tfilas yachid, just like you don't do it by yachid. Doesn't say even that you don't do it because it's called a tfilas yachid. I don't know. I don't know what the reason that he said, but it's. The Riyaz is a Chiddush Pella because Avada there is a Tefillah B'Tzibur. When the Gemara says Henkel Kabel Yimas, all the milas, the Rambam says it. I mean, it's a Chiddush Pella what he said. So what does Yitzchak say? What's the svara? And what's Alter Rebbe's svara? Again, I'm going to limit just a few seconds. There's a word that the Rebbe says in our Hora that when we daven Tefillah B'Tzibur, it's very important to know that there's two chalokim of tefillah b'tzibur. There's the tefillah where you daven everybody for themselves, but it's a achdus of b'tzibur. And then there is one tefillah b'tzibur, which is when the shliach tzibur davens. So the shliach tzibur davening is a different level of tefillah b'tzibur, and that's why we have to sit and listen to the Chazar Hashatz. That's why we don't have the shortcuts that some make in Chazar Hashatz. If that's pshat, you can understand maybe the Riyaz what he means. That when you daven yourself, it's you're not that level of tzibur. There's a tzibur. That is tefillas harabim, as I said, that is a mile of that davening, enkel kabel yimas and so forth. But the tzibur of being one entity, the way the Rebbe says there, that's miyuchad to when the shliach, when echad mispal and the rest listens, when the shliach tzibur is chayzer atfilah. Ebazei. Since the takana was an takanas hatzibur, that only happens by the Chazar Hashatz, according to that. The Alter Rebbe may be stressing that based on the Malamar, I'm not sure, I don't know that that's what he said holds, or that's what he's trying to say based on the Rambam, that hayes the brachas are negated to the Tekios. Since not everybody's holding there, you can't look at it that there's brachas here for Tekios, yeah. Until the Tfilas Hatzibur when everybody's together. So it could be that's why he's saying a similar word to the Riyaz. But that will come down. Veil Mamish, we do it based on Kabbalah, based on the Arizal that it is, and it definitely is considered a Tfilah B'Tzibur according to the way Ram holds. It's just a different type of Tfilah B'Tzibur. Akabonim, the Amish held that the Tekios that we do during Chedesh Elul should be pale and uftan als Achonis Rudam, Melken Mamlach sein, Rosh Hashanah, and we should be zeicher to Ksivach Simeteva, and the Metz Hashem next week. It's Hilchas Kiddush Achedesh, so I'm putting on notice. I have no intent of getting into the mathematical cheshbonus because I'm never not good in math. So we'll talk about Kiddush Achedesh in general. Hatzlacha Rabbe, sei gesund, and a guten Shabbos. I believe.